Joe 200 friends, how are you? It's the Friday the 29th. And what I decided to do is I decided to combine my economic lectures, my economy lectures. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly go over to our weeks right here. Okay, and what we have going on over here is we scroll down. This is what we're finishing up, guys. Okay, so we did caregiving. We looked at kind of global economics last week. Right now, it's economic preparation for retirement, so that's kind of on the individual level. Okay, and then this is the actual nuts and bolts of what you're going to have to learn about in terms of retirement and making sure you have enough finances to finance your retirement. And then we do a couple of things on law, and we're done. Okay. All right, so I kind of wanted to go over here and look at the long-term economic implications, okay, of an aging society, and this is kind of a review article for you guys because they basically are going over things that you are already aware of. You look at this right here, and it's just showing the shift in the population, the relative distribution of young versus old people, and we see here looking in 2010 worldwide versus 2050. Okay. Now a lot of countries have already gone this direction. Okay, the U.S., Japan, we've learned all about this. A lot of European countries already has this shift. But what's kind of mind-blowing is it's going to become a worldwide issue. And when it has a worldwide issue in terms of population distribution like this, it becomes a socio-economic issue, and that's what this is all about. Okay. Alrighty, and they kind of go rolling through the different continents. They look at how Europe is substantially impacted, and their economies as a result are impacted. Okay, so then they again review the things that we talk about. What are the key drivers? Certainly a drop in fertility rate. Okay, and they kind of go over what's going on. Why is this happening? And part of it is as they talk about right here is it's kind of we've become more of a selfish society, and we want to get ourselves ahead financially before we have children. And this is where the other professor Walsh and I were at. Okay, we didn't have any money really. We started on our own, had lots of student loans, and so we got our careers in order. Live life a little bit. We were together 12 years, and then we had our first child when Julia was 33 and I was 40. Okay, so we'd been together a long time already at that point in time. Okay, we met when she was 20 and I was 27. That was probably selfish on my part. Okay, selfish on our parts. Okay, we have our replacement level, 2 children. Okay, but we're contributing to the statistics that you see here in this chapter. The other thing they talk about is a little bit about sexuality and how that changed reproductive habits when we had birth control and things like that. That contributes to the decline in fertility. Alrighty. I've mentioned this before. We have falling mortality. I mean, people don't die. Okay, so we see diseases of survivors now because modern medicine has figured out how to get rid of most of the conditions that would kill you when you were younger and now even middle age. So we've really made headways in terms of diabetes and heart disease and things like that. And so people are then living longer and becoming then more of a burden later in life. Okay. And so you look at the implications of this right here, and that's discussed here in terms of financing things like health and long-term care covering, okay, and how countries just aren't really ready for this right now because it is going to be a big financial burden. The other thing that happens is when society gets out of whack the way it is we have kind of labor market concerns, okay? So when we see aging populations, okay, we're seeing a shift in the work dynamic. People are working longer, and we don't see a replacement population to fill the jobs, okay? Yeah, it's a modern economy and there's robotics and all that kind of stuff. Bottom line, we still need people, right? So the solution for looking at this, what's called the demographic deficit, and we see this right here. We see the changes that are happening graphically. We see that there's older people here, younger working people here, and it's the shift in this dynamic. We got to promote the value of childbearing, okay? And then the other thing is if you need workers and nobody's having children, then we're going to have immigration, okay? Because you got to find the people to populate your business one way or another, okay? Since people are out here living longer, we got to rethink healthcare, and that's what this is all about right here, okay? And again, this shows you life expectancy changes, okay? And of course, the rich get richer. People that are in high income have a higher life expectancy than people that are lower income. All right, so this is a pretty good article that really addresses the whole thing in terms of what's going on. Okay, life transitions are big delayed. I just talked about how Julie and I delayed our life transitions, and so it was an excellent article. Okay, so you guys went in the discussion and looked at the situation where people are being forced to stay in the workforce for longer periods of time, and how difficult it is to be competitive. And these were kind of on the piggyback of the Great Recession, and it showed you how compelling that was. Okay, so then we go into the next week, which is week 11. Okay, and week 11 is looking at the individual economic preparation for retirement. Okay, and we'll pull this baby up right here. Okay, and so we basically what you do, as indicated, page 50 and 57, two short chapters. So you come over here, and you're going to scroll down to page 50 and 57. Okay, so we start here. No, we don't. That's 43. There, 50. Okay, so what they basically go over is the economy of life. Okay, when you're approaching the retirement age, your parents are, or your grandparents have, you have basically these what's called the three-legged stool. We have our Social Security system that you guys will be commenting on in your discussion, which is wholly inadequate to live by, but it is something. Okay, we have the different types of pensions that we're going to discuss. Okay. A government pension, which is a guaranteed defined pension, and the kind that most of us do, which is called the defined contribution, where we put our own money into an account that won't be taxed until we access it later on in life when we will spending less money, so it'll be taxed at a lower rate. Okay, savings accounts. Okay, and within this kind of savings, we have things like home equity and property and other stuff like that. All right. Okay, so the big part is about replacement rate, right? So if I were to retire next year, do I have enough income at my disposal to spend between 70 and 85% of what I've been spending every year up to this point in time? Okay, and that's a difficult situation. That's a difficult situation. You know, some people don't have that kind of income, and so they run out of their retirement financial resources. Okay. And so you have to plan accordingly so that this doesn't happen. That's a good thing that you guys, a lot of you will do as financial planners. Okay. So again, it goes through whether or not you have adequate funds, okay, saved up to reach this threshold. Okay. In this particular study, people were set up at about 86%. So that's great. You know, they had that kind of resources available to them, 86% of what they were earning before they retired. Okay, and this kind of goes through different ranges of cohorts, and it's actually surprisingly high. But people on both ends are very different. Okay, all right. So these are some of your expenses as an economist that you can expect to increase. We talked a little bit about in the previous chapter about consequences of health expenses and aging. Okay, and this is a big deal right here. When we look at preparing for old age, you got to remember the big expenditure is your health benefits. All right, so it goes in here and it talks a little bit about differences right here in terms of gender and your taxable income. Okay, it talks about Social Security right here. Okay, and what kind of changes you'll see. Okay. You can see right here, okay, estimate that a reduction in Social Security benefits of 30% would reduce the percentage of adequately repaired people by 7.8% for married individuals and 10% for married, okay. So it's a real good survey of the importance of Social Security here, okay. Then we go down here. Talks a little bit about the pension landscape, okay? This is really important that you understand these two differences, okay? Defined benefit is what the kind of pension that you have a guaranteed income. It's what fire officers, policemen get. All forms of government workers get this defined benefit. So it'll be like 80% of what your salary is the day you retire, and you have that then for the rest of your life. Now this right here is financially for companies and for government agencies. This is a ball and chain because people are living a lot longer than they anticipated, and they're having to pay out these defined benefits for way too long, and they're going broke. The alternative is defined contribution, which is what USC has. I take a portion of my salary and I put it into a tax-deferred account. Okay, USC matches it 2-to-1, so that's a big thing that you should look into when you're choosing a job. Do they have matching contributions? And again, that money also is in the same account. You don't pay taxes on it until you spend it. And the idea is that the amount of spending that I do now when I'm working is far higher than the amount of spending that I'll do when I'm 80, 75, whatever it is. And so it'll be taxed at a much lower rate. Okay. All right. So that's how that works. Okay. This goes over the concept we were talking about, medical costs that are skyrocketing, and chronic disease with aging. It is what it is. I wish I could say things get better, that they don't. Okay. A lot of people don't understand why it's important to save, and the concept of compounding and compounding interest. When we get into next week's lecture, we start going over the different types of savings that you can do as part of my defined contribution. Okay. We're going to talk about individual retirement accounts, 401ks, and why it's so important because of the compounding of the money, how it really increases the value so much more than if you just stuck it away into your mattress. Okay. Alrighty. So I'm not going to go over the rest of it, so I just want you to kind of read through it. It does show you right here, for example, in these graphs, it's a lot better to be married than it is to be single. This is actual income levels. This is wealth levels. So you have equity in homes and things like that you can achieve a lot greater financial security when you are married. And this shows you right how that here, this is the amount of spending that is done, and a lot more savings, and spending is not that far different, as you can see, especially as you get older. So, so it's good to be married. Okay, awesome. So we're done with that. And then we scroll down here and we get an education right here about Social Security, okay? And also just Social Security and Medicare. So this is a really great report that talks about some of the issues that are ahead for you guys. So you read through this, and again, you address the prompt that we have here for the discussion, okay? All right, guys, so it's been wonderful. Saying hey to you again, and we're back on track here. And next week we're gonna be a gangbuster week, because next week what we do is we're gonna go in and learn how to do some saving. Okay, and this will be a primer for a lot of you that become financial planners. And we're gonna talk about Social Security, but we're also gonna talk about pensions, IRAs, annuities, all these kinds of things. Okay, alrighty, very cool, guys. All right, so until then, we'll see you next time.